My name is Priscilla Grimm. I'm working on the Occupy Wall Street effort in the media side of things. I am co-editing the We Are the 99% Tumblr blog with the creator, Chris. He goes by no last name right now. I'm also project managing the Occupied Wall Street Journal, which, though we don't have a website right now, we're working on one with the Yes Man.
Wow.
And you can find issues online at OccupyWSJ on Twitter. And we have issues both in English and in Spanish, and we have a national edition which we are working on that will hopefully launch either next week or the week after. Occupy Wall Street started as a call-out from Adbusters, the Canadian satirical magazine on the corporate world, and they said we would, it was almost like a wish. We would like to see 20,000 people encamped to hear style in the financial district of Manhattan. And just a couple hundred people showed up the first weekend, which was September 17th. The New York General Assembly, which all of these occupations are, the local community is run by a body called the General Assembly, which now there are hundreds of them all over the U.S. now. They took the lead in planning this action and getting the occupation centered in Manhattan. We started with a march on September 17th, and we wound up in Zuccotti Park on Broadway and Liberty, and quickly found out that this was a privately owned public park. When they established the park that they had to agree with the city that would be open for 24 hours to public use. And so we all wound up there after the march, and we stayed.
Wow.
And we have hence renamed it Liberty Park, and that's where we pretty much reside now. There are members of the media team because obviously pushing out online media is, and putting together a paper and all that is kind of challenging to do that within a city park, privately owned or not. So some of us have gone off to different office spaces that have been graciously granted to us by people who are allies in this movement to hopefully rebalance government onto the side of investing into people instead of corporations. As someone who's worked in larger institutions, I worked at one place that wanted to Twitter by committee, and I mean, you can't do that. There's a larger problem in the management of nonprofits that I have observed, and I may be incorrect, but there's a certain level of micromanagement that seems to happen within larger institutions because they're rightly concerned that there needs to be standards and practices in place, but you should trust the people that you hire to do the jobs that they're able to do. And when you do not do that, you not only muddy the process, you make the end product worse because there's not a singular vision behind it. All of us who are working on this effort, we are not being micromanaged. We are being given very broad marching orders from the General Assemblies, from the groups online that have popped up. And basically, the way it's worked out is this is your mission statement. This is what all of us as a group have decided upon. How you interpret that and carry that out is up to you. We are not endorsing a political party. We're not endorsing any political figure. We're not seeking to start a political party. So, the parameters are really broad for this. And I don't know if it's luck or what, but we've had just a lot of really brilliant people who have come on board who understand what the mission is behind the occupations and have really respectfully followed what the inspiration is behind it.
Sure.
So there really hasn't been a lot of problems with messaging. I mean, we've had very little media training for anybody who's talking to the media. And somehow they've not only pulled it off, but they've served Fox News their ass, and it was amazing. So it's really inspiring to see what can happen if you trust the people around you to do the job they're there to do. As far as metrics, for the We Are the 99% blog, I can tell you on that one, I started taking the lead on promoting that 2 days into the occupation, so that would be September 19th. And we had about 1,500 followers on Tumblr. Last night, I looked and it was over 16,000. We don't actually have, we're not keeping metrics on the traffic on the site. I actually am more a fan of seeing what kind of chatter happens online. I also helped promote an online radio station last year called Real Punk Radio. And we kept track of metrics as far as the hard hits that hit on the site. But what we also really took note of was how many people are talking about us online. Because ultimately, you know, the way social media works, the way anything online is happening right now, you're only as good as the people who are talking about you and what they're saying. And by that metric, We Are the 99% performed beyond expectations. As far as the fundraising piece to that goes, for the Occupy Wall Street Journal, we put out a call for $12,000 for printing costs. Originally, we were just going to do one paper for the New York occupation, and we put out the call on Kickstarter. The CEO to Meetup.com heard about the campaign, helped push it through, and we closed the campaign yesterday with over $75,000, which we're having to walk away from because we have to find somebody else who has the capacity to deal with that kind of capital. Well, one, talk to other people on social media. It's a discussion. It's not messaging going out to people. That's the problem. You know, at the same time in this country when our government was investing in telephones so that we could talk to each other, in the Soviet Union they were investing in loudspeakers. And so, you know, I think the story of how that played out and affected those two societies is fairly obvious now. You are there to talk to other people. You are not there to talk at people. And that is the biggest mistake we have. And I don't know if it's just the generation of the leadership that is currently in place in a lot of these larger institutions. You know, I don't want to play the generation game, but it is there. And baby boomers who grew up and have been surrounded by mainstream media as the last word on everything, you know, they don't understand the power that social media gives you to be your own content provider. While the mainstream media was not paying attention to Occupy Wall Street and the other occupations that was being set up, all of us were putting out daily video reports that were incredibly well produced. I mean, you know, this is New York City, it's the city of artists. We have the talent to do that. So people who wanted information about that didn't have to rely on mainstream media. They could just come to our media and see what we're producing about it, and in a lot of ways get a more fuller sense of what the issues that we're trying to address are. Because even though we're now getting mainstream media attention, a lot of fetishization of the violence is happening. You know, a lot of misinformation about how in the New York occupation that it's this younger, all-white, you know, college-educated movement. Anybody who's been to New York City knows that that space doesn't exist anywhere in the city. I mean, we are one of the most diverse cities in the country. And you go, you know, if you actually go to the site, you'll see that there are people from all kinds of different backgrounds. And, you know, it's kind of this trick that the media does to kind of dismiss efforts that are free speech efforts, that we have the complete right to do, the freedom to assemble. So it's kind of like your freedom to assemble online. You can be your own content producer. NPR right now is on an equal footing as any, you know, ABC, NBC, CBS, because of their online space, because they have invested so much energy, effort, and money into that space. You know, someplace like Jazz at Lincoln Center could be the heart of jazz education in this country through their website, through video that they produce, you know, through the radio shows that they have. There's several ways to look at this, and you just have to see yourself not as an organization, but as a broadcaster for the information and the programs and the mission that you have. You have the ultimate power and the ultimate web space, especially if you know, New York Public Library is another amazing example of what they've done with their digital space and how they've made themselves into an online destination for people all over the world. So, you know, stop looking at yourself as a local, small entity and see yourself as a voice for your cause to the entire world.